Just text, I know it's a toss up, but I hate the fact that we lost touch. Ayy, the Uber pulling up on call. Tell me, is you trying to fall through? I'ma leave it up to you.
What's up, you guys? It is Jericho. Welcome back to my channel. So this is gonna be something new that I'm doing here on my channel, and I'm not even gonna say we're like preaching, because we're not preaching, and I don't claim to be a preacher or anything of the sort. I just wanted to share this video because I feel like this video could really help people who are dealing with this. Okay, so anyways, my pastor has been preaching on unforgiveness for like the past 5-6 weeks maybe, and it just sounds so let me fix this light. It just seems like it could be such a cliche thing, because you hear people say, oh, you should forgive, you should forgive, you should forgive, you should let it go. And it's just one of those subjects that we just really need to be, we just need to dive deeper into. And I just really feel like maybe me sharing what I've been learning in church on my channel would help some people who are dealing with this, maybe help free somebody who is in bondage. Ooh, excuse me. So again, disclaimer, like I said, I'm not a preacher or not claiming to be one. I just feel like I want to start giving the word on my channel and encouraging people and helping people who may need to hear the word at the time that they watch this video. And maybe somebody will share the video with somebody who's dealing with this issue or whatever. So that is my goal. If I only help one person with these videos, then my job is done. Because I feel like we need more people here on YouTube who aren't afraid to share their faith, who aren't afraid to speak about Jesus on their channel, because I'm not ashamed to speak about Jesus on my channel. So I want to share what I'm learning as I'm learning it, to other people. So we're not going to ramble on and on. I'm going to go ahead and get into the message. So anyways, like I was saying, my pastor is preaching on unforgiveness right now. And it is such an amazing topic, and it's such a freeing topic when you actually apply the word, because so many times we just go to church and we just sit there and we hear the word, and sometimes even while you're in church, your mind is just going to other places. Your mind can be things you want to eat for dinner, or a grocery list that you have to put together after you get out of church, or what you're going to wear to work tomorrow, things of the sort. So you could literally be sitting in church and your mind not even be there on the topic that you're hearing. So it's really good to apply the word and be doers of the word and not just hearers of the word. And in order to do that, it takes you to apply what you're hearing and apply what you're learning and actually do it. And don't just think about it, but actually do it. That's how you see the manifestations of his word come to life, by actually doing what you're learning and what you're hearing and what you're reading. So, okay, my phone just keeps cutting off because my battery is low. So we're going to be the first thing we're going to talk about is why you should forgive. And I know some people are probably going to watch this and say, it's easier said than done. I've been hurt so many times. So many people have hurt me. I'm constantly being hurt. This person has hurt me to my core. I don't know if I can forgive them, and things like that. We're going to talk about all that. But simply put, if you're a believer in Christ, the reason why we should forgive is because Jesus said to forgive. And it's not like Jesus just gives us commands, because I know some people look at the Bible as like a book of rules to follow, and if I don't follow these rules, then I'm not a good person, or I've fallen from grace. And it's like, Jesus was human too. So he knows that we are not perfect. He knows that we're going to fall short every single day, which is why you should be repenting daily. I'm starting to make that a routine in my life, because repentance is freedom. So we should be repenting daily anyways. So anyway, so he knows that the reason why he tells us to do certain things is for our benefit. Even if it feels like it's too hard or we don't understand it, we will never infinitely understand God, because we are not God. And like my pastor says, if you put everybody's mind together that exists in the world, we still won't even be an inkling of how intelligent God is. And he says what he says for a reason, and everything he says and does is for our benefit, even the things that hurt. So you should forgive because Jesus said to forgive. So the scripture that he was talking about this in is Matthew 18 verses 21 through 22, I think it is. So I'm going to read it real quick. I'm gonna put it on the screen. I'm reading from the Passion Translation, and I'm using the app, the Bible app, the infamous Bible app that everybody be using these days. So anyway, so the TPT translation says, later, Peter approached Jesus and said, "How many times do I have to forgive my fellow believer who keeps offending me? 7 times?" Jesus answered, "Not 7 times, Peter, but 70 times 7 times. The lessons of forgiveness in heaven's kingdom realm can be illustrated like this." And then he goes on to tell a story about how this king who had servants who borrowed money, and he decided to settle the accounts with them. And as he began, I'm just paraphrasing. So he ended up owing some money, and he begged the person he owed to please give him another chance, to please give him the time to pay the debt, and he will repay the debt, because in this parable, if he didn't, he would be jailed and his family would be jailed. I think that's what it was. Yeah, along with his wife. He would be sold as a slave along with his wife and children and every possession they own as payment towards his debt. And he begged the person for mercy to give him another chance. And that person said, "I forgive you of your debts. You're free. You don't owe me anything. Basically, you're free to go." So that man was cleared of his debts. He was forgiven for his debts that he owed. And then the same man that was just begging for mercy and forgiveness and for his debts to be paid and for him to not owe anything is this. And then he went through the exact same situation. One of his servants came to him and he only owed thousands, while this man that just did the begging owed millions. The person that came to him only owed thousands. Compare thousands to millions, it's a big difference. So someone came to him and begged him for mercy, begged him for forgiveness of debts with promise to pay. And can you believe this man threw this guy in jail? It says he had his fellow servant thrown into prison and demanded he remain there until he repaid the debt in full. And there were some people who witnessed this, and they went back and told the king at the beginning of this parable, said the same guy that you just released the debt from had someone come to him about getting their debts released or forgiven, and he threw them in jail. He did not repay the same mercy. He did not repay the same kindness. He completely forgot forgiven of his debts, and then now it was his turn to do the forgiving, and he didn't do it. He put the person in jail. So it's like, how many times do we do that to Jesus? And it's just like, Jesus forgives us for everything, but how in the world can you do all the begging for mercy, forgiveness, and asking for forgiveness, and it's granted to you, but you can't do that for somebody else? So these people went and told the king that, and he told him, it's like I just forgave you for your debts. Why can't you do the same for me? I mean, why could you do the same for the person that came to you? And I got to figure out, see how this ended. I forgot how it ended. Okay, so that king that had forgiven from his debts was so angry of what he had just heard and witnessed, he decided to throw that man in jail, and he had to stay in prison until his debts were paid. Y'all, like, just hearing that parable, like, this is the parable that Jesus told Peter on why you should forgive. And it's like, it's the same way with how we do Jesus. You should forgive because he told us that we should. And Jesus forgives us, so how can you not repay the same to others? And I know, like I said, people are going to watch this and be like, "Oh, that's easier said than done, and such has done this to me, and such has done that, and I've constantly being hurt, and blah blah blah." And like I said, Jesus tells us things for our own good. He didn't say doing these things would be easy, but it is necessary. And it's necessary because you are freeing yourself when you forgive others. Forgiveness is not for other people. Forgiveness is for yourself. Forgiveness is for freedom. So before I jump too far ahead, we want to talk about what happens when you don't forgive. So just think about like somebody in your life that has hurt you deeply, and you are wounded, and you have been carrying this around your entire life. Like, whether the thing happened last week, whether the thing happened when you were a child, or it's continually happening by the same person that you're in close contact with. Whoever this person is that is hurting you, whether intentionally or unintentionally, I said unintentionally. I meant to say unintentionally. You are carrying this around with you every single day. For some people, they carry something around for years. And to think that you're carrying this around in your body for that long, the enemy is smiling. People who hold grudges, the enemy uses this to keep you in bondage. So when you don't forgive people, it's like you're in a jail cell and the door is open, but you're still just standing there in a jail cell. Like, the door is open. They said you are free to go. You are free to go, but you're still standing in there because you don't even realize that you're free. The keys are there, the door is wide open, and you're just choosing to stay in this cell because you don't even realize that you're free. You haven't even mentally processed that you could just walk out. So when you don't forgive people, that is literally what you're doing. You're putting your own self in prison. And the people who've hurt you and offended you, they're probably not even thinking about you. And that's the thing. Like, they're not, the people who have hurt you aren't even thinking about what they did to you. They're not losing sleep at night. They've moved on with their lives. They're living their best life. And you are here tossing and turning, holding a grudge. When you see this person, you try, like, all these emotions are just brought to the surface, and you're angry, you're bitter, you hold grudges for years. There are some people who are professional grudge holders. And I just feel like that is such an exhausting place to constantly be upset, to constantly be angry, to constantly want revenge, to constantly, just to this revenge spirit, just to constantly be in that state every single day. Exhausting. It just uses it takes your entire being to be angry. Like, it is so draining, and it is not profitable in any way. It's not good for you on top of that. So that's what happens when you don't forgive. You're holding yourself in a prison cell that you don't even have to be in. You can choose to walk out, but you're standing there with the door wide open. So you have to forgive because it's what's best for you. Rather this person asks for forgiveness, rather they don't ask for forgiveness, you still need to forgive. And that brings me to my next point. What forgiveness is not. So when people tell you need to forgive, you automatically think well, how do I forgive? How do I forgive someone who's constantly hurt me or who is continually hurting me? How am I going to forgive and act like it doesn't happen? The thing is, I had to learn this for myself, and I even was on Google searching because I'm like, how do you forgive being hurt by someone? And how do you just act like it don't happen? Like, how do you do that? But the thing is with forgiveness is not pretending that it didn't happen. Is you're letting go in your heart. And I'm going to read to you the definition that my pastor had put up, because they like to break down words for what they really mean. And he broke down the word forgiveness, and it says for is the prefix of the word, and which stands for completely and thoroughly. Just like that king in the parable completely forgave that man of his millions of dollars in debt, he completely forgave it. That was completely and thoroughly forgiven. So he owed nothing. So it says, and to give. So for, completely and thoroughly, give means to send forth and give up the desire or power to punish, to release all debts, and to give up. So when you forgive something, you are completely and thoroughly releasing the power, you're releasing the control, you're releasing the desire to punish, you're releasing the desire for revenge, you're letting all of that go. So that's what it means to forgive. It doesn't mean that you won't have memory of what happened. It doesn't mean that you won't have emotions behind what happened, because at the end of the day, we are human. And you are going to have emotions, and this will be a time for you to find healthy ways to deal with those emotions. I recommend counseling. I recommend spending time with the Lord. I recommend getting deliverance, the deliverance that you can get from only having a relationship with Christ. These are the things that you can do to help you get over, but that's just for lack of better words, to get through those emotions that you're going to feel from whatever it is that happened in your life or whoever it is that hurt you. So when you're forgiving, you're doing this for yourself. You're releasing that hold. You're releasing, the thought of revenge. So if you think about somebody who has hurt you and you're constantly like, oh, I can't wait to get them back. I can't wait to just give me the chance to get them back. As soon as I get the opportunity, I'm going to get them back. As soon as this happens, I'm going to get them back. Or you're thinking, oh, I can't wait till what goes around comes around. And that's what people say. They'd be like, oh, karma's y'all know. So it's like, if these are the type of thoughts that you're thinking when you think of whoever it is that hurt you, you have not forgiven that person. You have not forgiven that person. Now, some people say, well, I forgave them, but I'm not going to forget. You haven't forgiven that person. Even though that is true, when you forgive somebody that has hurt you, it doesn't mean that you're going to forget what happened. But you shouldn't feel anger and resentment and revenge in your heart when you think about this person. That's how you know if you've really forgiven that person. And sometimes that takes time. I'm not saying that whoever broke your heart yesterday, you're going to forgive them the next day. I'm not even saying it's that easy, because we all know that it is not. So let me not sit here and act like it's the easiest thing in the world to do and that just do it. But I'm telling you this because it is for your own good, your own benefit, which is why Jesus told us 70 times 7. 70 times 7. When you add that together, when you multiply that, it's 490. So he's not saying forgive them 490 times. He was just giving an example, like, you always forgive, no matter what, no matter how many times, forgive. Now, with that being said, when you forgive a person, if you're dealing with a situation where a person is consistently hurting you after you have expressed how this person is consistently hurting you and they continue to hurt you, yes, you should still forgive them. But it doesn't mean that you don't set boundaries. It doesn't mean that you trust them. It doesn't mean that you reconcile the relationship, whatever, the friendship, the romantic relationship, whatever it is. It could be anything these days. Just because you've forgiven them doesn't mean that you're a doormat. It doesn't mean that you continue to allow them to hurt you, especially if it's continually happening and it's been happening forever. And after you've expressed your concerns, they're continually hurting you in ways that they know is hurtful to you and you have forgiven them. Now it's time for you to set boundaries for yourself. Like I said, just because you have forgiven them doesn't mean that you're going to allow them into your life to continue to hurt you. It doesn't mean that you won't set boundaries. It doesn't mean that you trust them again. Now, that is all up to the individual person, whatever the situation may be. I don't know that. I'm just speaking from what I've learned. So it's okay to forgive somebody and not reconcile with that person, because you've let go of that revenge in your heart. You've let go of that hatred and that resentment and that bitterness. Like, all of those are cousins.
Cousin! What's up, cousin? What's up?
They're all in the same family and they are all hurtful to you. And one thing I've recently learned in my walk with Christ is that not only can we get deliverance through Christ, but when we don't, like, these bitter emotions can... So, who did I hear this from? I think it was Creflo. He said, dis-ease in your emotions causes disease in your body. And when I heard that, I'm like, that is the perfect way to put it. So if you're constantly angry and bitter and resentful and just hurt, if you're just walking in those emotions every single day of your life, you are literally causing disease in your body. And there's so many people who have illnesses, and I'm not saying that illnesses can't come from other things, but I am saying that disease thrives on stress, and it allows it to, whatever the disease is, like you have high blood pressure, cancer, there's a list of things that if you just Google it, like the cause the stress has on your body and the physical diseases that manifest because of that. If you read this information, if I can find it, I'll link it below, because it would help you to let go of some things for that thought alone, for your own health. Because people always tell you, well, just you let go for you let go for your own health. But that is really real. You let go for your health. You are literally killing yourself by being in this constant state of mind. So you have to let it go and do whatever healing that you need to do is necessary. Like I said, I highly recommend a relationship with Christ, because he is the ultimate deliverer. He is the ultimate healer. He desires a relationship with us and spending time with us. And he cares about every little detail in our lives. And anything, whoever has hurt you in your life, whoever has caused you to be in this state, now that you've seen my video, you have a choice on whether or not you're going to choose to forgive this person and walk out of that jail cell, or if you're going to choose to stand there with the door wide open. Emphasis on the door is wide open, because it is a choice. You have the choice whether or not you're going to do that. You have the choice whether or not you're going to walk out of that prison cell. It's all up to you. And like I said, it's not easy. It's not easy. But when you let go of forgiveness, when you let go of that rage and bitterness in your heart, and when you see that person and you can genuinely wish them well, when you think of that person and you don't get all like ragey and start breaking out into a sweat, when you can get to that point through healing and through deliverance, is freedom. It is true freedom. And this is the reason why Jesus tells us to forgive. Not because it's easy, but because it's what's best for us, and it's healing for us. It's freedom for us. And at the end of the day, he just really wants what's best for us. And God's plan, one thing I've learned and am learning, is God's plan for my life is better and bigger than anything that I think I can orchestrate, because we as humans, we operate in our flesh, aka our emotions, aka the list goes on. And if you're constantly making decisions based off of emotions, you might make some very crappy decisions that you may or may not be able to get out of, that may have terrible consequences. So I just want to make myself available to listen to the Holy Spirit, because whatever decisions that I make, I want them to be decisions that are pleasing to the Lord. And I want to make sure that I'm constantly spending time with him and reading about him and getting to know him so that I can know his voice. Because when you don't know the Lord's voice and you don't know what voice is speaking in your head, which I'm not even going to speak on that subject, because I am currently going through this as we speak on discerning which voice is from the Lord and not my own voice, or not Satan's voice. His voice is clear as day. But when you don't know what God is telling you to do before you make a decision, you can really mess some things up. And I'm in a point in my life where the decisions that I make are crucial, they're important, and I want to be making the right decisions. Even though that's not saying, even if you've made the wrong decision, it doesn't mean that the Lord can't turn that situation around, because I believe that all things work together for my good. But at the same time, I want to make sure that I'm listening and spending time with God so that I can discern his voice for myself. That is my ultimate goal, to know exactly when he speaks and when he speaks, so I can move when he tells me to. But that's hard. That's a whole nother video. So I just wanted to do this video because I feel like there are so many people who are in bondage and they don't even know it. Because these days with the world society, it's just like, F them, move on, just forget them. I don't care about them. Like I'ma do me. And all this stuff that you see on social media about people just living their best life, and I'm just going to drink, and I'm just going to smoke, and I'm just going to party and live it up and live my best life. I ain't worried about it, blah, blah, blah. All these sayings that people say that sounds like you're letting it go, but you really aren't letting it go. You're just covering it. You're just self-medicating. And we all know that don't really help you with nothing. As soon as you come back from that high or come down from that high, and when you're no longer drunk or whatever it is, that problem still remains. That hurt still remains. Those angry emotions still remains. Like, yeah, you may forget about it temporarily, but you're not fixing the root cause of the problem. And the root comes from forgiving and letting it go from the heart, not the head, the heart. And like I said, that is not easy to do, and it's going to take a choice, a consistent choice to do, and it ain't something that can happen overnight all the time. Another thing he's been teaching us to do is to make these difficult phone calls with people in our lives that we may have offended. Because yes, we need to forgive others, but there may be people that we may have offended unintentionally or even intentionally, that we need to be making this phone call. Like, hey, if I have hurt you in any way, please forgive me. Or I know I hurt you in such and such way. Whenever it happened, please forgive me. That was not my intention. Blah, blah, blah. Things along those lines. And those phone calls are hard to make. Even if these things that you did were before you gave your life to Christ, the conversations still need to happen. And once you make these conversations and have these difficult conversations, you will just find so much freedom and release. Like, you'll feel it immediately. When you really forgive somebody and make that choice to let it go, you can feel the release immediately. Like, I don't know what it is, but you just immediately feel better. So it is instant. Like, you just feel the weight being lifted off of you after you have these difficult conversations, after you decide that, you know what, I'm tired of carrying around this baggage everywhere I go. I'm tired of mistreating people in my current life based off of how people treated me in the past. Like, I'm taking out what people did to me in my past on people who are here in my life now. I'm pushing people away. Like, you're doing all these things because you haven't let it go. And you're telling people you let it go, but your behavior and your actions are showing that seed of hate and resentment and bitterness is planted deep, and it's coming out through your actions. It's coming out through your words. It's coming out in how you are, medicating to deal with said hurt. So this is why you gotta let it go from the heart, because when you've truly let it go from the heart and you've truly let Jesus come in and do what he does best, you can truly walk in freedom, and you can treat the people who are in your life, who are trying to help you or who are with you in your life now, you can treat them better. You can do better. You can just be a better person when you don't have that weight slowing you down. It's like carrying a ton of bricks and just dragging a bag of bricks while you're walking through life. Like when you just say, you know what, I'm tired of carrying this. I am truly letting it go. I am giving it to Jesus. Like, he wants you to do that with everything. So it's just like I said, it's a choice you have to make. Jesus doesn't push himself off on anybody. He is constantly knocking on our hearts, but it's up to us to open the door to him and let him in, let him do the work that he is best at doing. But I say all of this to say, don't be that person that is going to church every Sunday, but you're never experiencing the full power of healing. You're never experiencing the full power of deliverance, the full power of Christ. And part of that reason will be because you're holding grudges against somebody. There are people who say they love Christ and are still holding on to grudges from people who hurt them, and these people aren't even alive anymore. There's people who say they love the Lord and go to church every Sunday, but then they're not even speaking to their own siblings. They're not speaking to their own children. They're not speaking to their family members. They're not speaking to certain friends. And when I say that, I mean like you're actively holding a grudge against these people. You're actively walking in bitterness, but you say you love the Lord. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. And I'm glad that we're in a place in the world where more people are talking about deliverance and talking about healing and the casting out of demons and unclean spirits. Like, I'm so glad that people are starting to be more talking about this, because Jesus said that we will do even greater works than him. And the things he did, what did he do? He laid hands on people. He cast the demons out. So these are things that we as believers have the power and the authority. We have the power to speak things into existence. We have the power to use the authority that we have through Jesus to do so many things that he said that we would do. And so many of us don't do it. Or we give our lives to Christ. We read our Bible every day, but we're not doing the Bible. We're not applying it to our lives. We're just reading and going to church, reading and going to church, reading and going to church. And some people live like that for decades, and they never really truly experience any move of God in their life, like miracles. I don't know about anybody else, but I want to see true healing and miracle and powers all around me, miracle signs and wonders all around me, healing, casting out unclean spirits. And I know for a fact that that works. I won't go into detail about it, but let me just say, I know that that works. I desire for whoever it is that's watching this video to walk in freedom. And I really want to start doing these types of videos more often, because I feel like if it helps me, it can help somebody else. And if you're not at my church, you don't know that this is being taught. I don't know what's being taught at your church. If you go to church, maybe you don't even go to church. I don't know. But I do desire for whoever's watching this video who may be hurting, or who may be sad or depressed, or who may be walking in bitterness and anger and resentment and hatred, I command healing over you in the name of Jesus. And I pray that you would come to know the Lord for yourself. I pray that you will develop a relationship with God and that you will spend time with him. I'm at a place now, like when I'm praying for something, like I just recently went through a situation, or not even a situation, but like a segment in my life where I was just praying daily. And I like to prayer journal. I like to write out my prayers while I'm listening to worship music. And I was just like, man, like, Lord, give me a sign. Like, are you listening to me? Because, sometimes the enemy would talk in your ear and say, like, the Lord isn't listening to you. He don't hear you. He ain't working for you. He worked for everybody else but you. Like, these are the thoughts that I was having. So when somebody came to me and asked me a specific question about something I had been praying about, like they were confirming it for me, it blew my mind, because I'm like, Lord, you really are listening. Even though I know that he is. But like I said, the enemy, those thoughts will get in your head that make you feel like the Lord doesn't care. Or he doesn't care about your problems. He cares about everybody else's problems but yours. And that is a lie. And I knew it was a lie when I had that thought, but you keep thinking on these thoughts and you let them fester and things, anyway. So that's another video. So I'm just in a place where I just want people to truly be free. And I am not somebody who has all the answers. I don't have all the answers. I am currently actively walking this in my waking life. So I'm just sharing with you guys because maybe somebody needs to hear this. Maybe somebody has been standing in a prison cell with the door open and they didn't even realize it. Maybe they didn't even realize the door was open. And Jesus is that door. I'm telling you, he is there waiting for you. So I hope that this video has encouraged you to develop a relationship with Christ, especially in the times that we are in. Especially now. There is no greater time than right now to give your life to Christ. And I just pray that, if you need somebody to talk to, please feel free to DM me on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. And like I said, I just pray that this video encourages you to know the Lord for yourself. I hope that if you realize from watching this video that you are holding grudges against someone, that you pray about it and you really truly let it go. You really truly wish that person well, whoever it is that hurt you, and you move on with your life. You move on to where you are not being in chains. You move on so that the enemy can't use you, because he's using so many people and he's using it through unforgiveness and bitterness, and that's just like major key for him. Major key. So when you let that go, things will start happening in your life. So anyway, we're gonna end this video here because I don't want this video to be too long. But if you guys like this video, if you want more videos like this, please leave a comment down below. Please share it with somebody you think who needs to hear it. And if you are new to my channel and you watch this video to the end, I thank you so much for watching. And all my new subscribers, my OG subscribers, I always appreciate and love you guys for your support. And let me know down in the comments if this video was helpful for you or not. So again, if you like this video, don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe and follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Lemonade, pretty much all the platforms. I'm on there as Jerikasyncere. And check out my blog at www.jerikasyncere.com. And that is it. So thank you guys so much for watching and have a good day.